Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Adam from Lazy Guy DIY and Maker Media Co. And we are back with our panel here with Moss and friends. So Kelly and I are going to be our hosts tonight. We're going to run through an introduction of our friends here. We're going to start off here up top with Blake.
How's it going, guys? I am Blake. I run BM Sculptures, where I do all different kinds of sculptures. I kind of specialize in mixed materials, anything from any kind of recycled thing to now kind of getting it into wood, and just really random stuff. A little bit about my past. I'm a professor. I guess I'm a retired professional baseball player. I played with the Toronto Blue Jays for 8 seasons. Just recently retired 2 years ago, and now full-time artist, and couldn't enjoy it more. From there, I guess we'll go on to Sam to my right or left.
Either one works. Hi, I'm Sam. I'm from DIY Huntress. I do woodworking and content creation, and I love teaching people how to build stuff.
I guess that's to me. I am Dave Hoffel. I am the owner and CEO of Endurance Technologies, and we have Moss Epoxies, which is how I got to meet all these wonderful people. And we also have an industrial division called Custom Polymer Design. But tonight I'm looking forward to just getting to know everybody and having a kind of fun conversation.
Hello, I'm Tamar, and my Instagram and YouTube is 3x3 Custom, and I am a woodworker and a mother of 3 children, and that's pretty much my story. So now off to Adam.
Hey guys, as I said, it's Adam from Lazy Guy DIY and Maker Media Co. I do a little woodworking tool reviews, and with Maker Media Co, a little bit of help with influencers. So, and I'll be helping moderate tonight. So we'll go over to Annie.
Hi, everybody. I am Annie from Annie's Art Studio. I am a resin artist. I like dabbling in all kinds of things. Multimedia artist. I love projects that have a ton of layers. I really love to complicate my life when I make my resin projects. And also a little bit backstory on me. I am a animator, 3D animator, environmental artist. I do a lot of visual effects and graphic design, and I know a lot about editing videos and things like that. So if you guys have those kind of questions, social media kind of specialist stuff. And that's it. I think we're going to go to Haley. Haley? Are we going to Haley? Let's go to Haley.
Hi, guys. You probably remember me from last time. I'm Haley Nolan from Artist Haley Nolan on Instagram, and I just recently got laid off from my corporate job at Costa Sunglasses. I was the retail marketing coordinator for all of the United States, and now I am blessed with my own little art business, and needless to say, it's been taking off quite well, and thanks to basically everybody here in this panel. So I'm just happy to be here again and can't wait to chat. Ronnie?
Hi guys, my name is Ronnie Langley. When I was in college, I was studying like IT technical writing. And I got a full-time job doing that and loved it. And then I was also doing art as a hobby, ended up transitioning from my hobby to a full-time job. And that was 2 years ago. Best decision of my life. And I've been running and owning a business ever since. I do my own social media with content creation and have like 2 million followers on TikTok, which happened kind of by accident. But yeah, I'm going to introduce Kelly.
Hey there, guys. My name is Kelly Johnson, and I am the content creation specialist for Moss Epoxies. I am a multimedia artist who loves to work with resin and loves to work with all types of mediums. And I am so excited to help host tonight along with Adam. We're going to ask some really cool questions. And we have our first question already. And this one is going to be for Mr. Blake up top. This one is, what project did you enjoy creating the most?
Nice. So it's a tough one, but I love when I get projects where I have free range to do anything I want. A lot of these projects, especially when you work with different companies, they have a million different inputs. Hey, it's got to be like this. It's got to be like this. So for me, I did a 10-foot tire sculpture 2 years ago, and it's made out of all recycled materials from the California coastline and landfill. It's basically this 10-foot kind of hero character hoisting up the earth, and the earth is basically in crumbles, kind of symbolizing us kind of self-destructing our own planet with unsafe recycling practices. So just a very meaningful sculpture for me, something I love to have full control over. I got to do exactly what I wanted, and I couldn't be happy with how it turned out. And that's definitely my favorite one to this date.
Awesome. Thanks, Blake. Next question goes to our own DIY huntress, Sam, up there. So, Sam, we know you wear a lot of hats, you do a lot of things. And the question we have is, what is the best way to manage your time?
Okay, so for those who may not know me, I'm actually a full-time psychologist, and I do content creation and woodworking on the side. So my woodworking is my side hustle, and it does take a lot of balance, and that is really hard, but it's awesome at the same time. So my best advice is A, you can do everything you love. It is possible. And B, just kind of go in with a game plan. I actually still physically have a paper planner that I write every single thing down in. And yes, paper planners all day. And I'm really realistic about timelines. Like if I know that I can only handle 2 projects a month and the content creation on top of my full-time job, then that's what I do. And I try to do it the best that I can. And I try not to overreach. Some months are easier than others, but just being realistic about your time and setting some solid deadlines is really important. And hi to everyone in the chat. And yes, shout out to Long Island.
That's awesome. So I also love how you said that you know your limits. So if it's 2 projects every so often, that's awesome. I tend to overbook myself sometimes, so it's good to keep in mind. So our next question is going to Mr. Dave up top. Dave, if you were an artist or maker, how would you streamline the business and increase profits?
Yeah, a great question. So since I'm not an artist, I can tell you that the talent that you guys all have is probably the #1 most important thing to keep in your stuff. So, being honest and being straightforward and keeping true to what you do as a project. But I think a lot of it has to do with organization and what you're trying to organize and where you're spending your time. The thing that I've learned as we grow our business is that we waste time doing things that we're just simply not good at. Whether that's your QuickBooks or trying to bill somebody or do something else, you could be creating a really cool piece of art and using that creativity and maybe paying somebody to do some of the stuff that you're just really not good at, and you don't provide any added value to that, right? It doesn't add value to you being an artist if you're sitting there hammering out invoices all night long. Pay somebody to do that and do the stuff that you love, and that shows who you are as an artist.
But I'm really good at Excel sheets.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is for Tamar. I'll fist bump you. You got it? Yeah. Okay, Tamar. For someone who is starting out for YouTube, they're a new YouTuber, what sort of advice do you have for somebody starting their channel for the first time?
All right. So the hardest thing for me to do in the beginning was press that publish button. That was just every ounce of courage I needed to press that button. So my best advice would be just go for it. Just do it. Just try it out. If people don't watch, they don't watch. If people watch and it takes off, that's amazing. But that being said, don't right away invest in everything. Don't get the best camera. Don't buy the best editing software. Don't get the best computer, because you don't know if it's going to be something that you're going to enjoy or that's something going to take off. My first couple of videos were done completely on my iPhone, edited in iMovie. I didn't have to spend anything on equipment or anything like that. And then once it started to take off, I got like a little just like video camera and then worked with that until it broke. and then slowly as my channel started taking off, I started upgrading my equipment and investing more into my business once I was able to. So just go for it, but don't go all in right away.
That's so smart. That's very good advice. And I'm one to like go to Michael's when I'm starting something completely new and buy like everything instead of just like doing a little test first to see how it goes. Love that advice. Let's see. Mr. Adam, this question is for you. What's the best way to cold pitch a brand for a collaboration?
Okay, sort of a trick question, but you don't want to pitch everything in a DM. Never DM a brand with a whole written out thing. What you want to do is get a contact first and always find a person to talk to, because you don't know who you're talking to through social media or email. Get that person's name. Ask if there's a marketing department. I'm sorry, I have cats running around in the background. But if you talk to somebody on DM through Instagram, Twitter's always good too. Just ask them if there's a point of contact for working with social media. And then get an email and start talking to them, or a phone number. And that's when you start talking to them about your project. Have a project in mind. Don't just say, hey, give me stuff. Hey, we want to work together. Have a plan in mind. And then once you get that contact, then start having that conversation with like, hey, I have this great thing. I'd love to use your product. This is how. And that is how you cold call. All right. It looks like it's me again. So Adam, that was a great thing to say. Okay. So Annie, how often do you recommend to post on TikTok?
Okay. So I'm going to take this question and I'm going to sway it a little bit. So you want to be active. Your followers are following you for a reason. They want to see content, right? But sometimes it's really difficult to post something daily. I would say minimum 2 to 3 times a week. But on the days you kind of don't have like a good project or something put together, don't put like bullshit stuff. That's the thing that kills people, right? So work on your content, have good projects, post content that really matters with your channel, things that make sense, and put time into it. But I would say 2 to 3 times a week. If you can post every day, it's going to be to your benefit. If you can post more than once a day, it's hard though. It's a lot of content. So if it's your job and you can daily put a couple of videos and have a good schedule on, fantastic. But 2 to 3 times a week. But it's actually more important to concentrate on the content that you're actually putting out there. You can post once a week and get thousands and millions of followers, or you can post a bunch of small kind of crappy videos and get no followers. So it's kind of, you have to balance what you want to do. So
right on. Thank you. So our next question is going to Haley. If someone wanted to start teaching resin classes, where would they begin?
So I just recently, with the past year, I've started teaching these classes. And what actually happened first was it was mostly in-person classes. I know that's a little different right now with COVID, but it was a local art museum that's kind of like all fundraiser based on that anyways. And I just went to a bunch of museums and little art areas and started walking in and shopping around, buying some whatever little things, and then get a contact, kind of like Adam said, and started building relationships with people within the art industry in my local town. Then I ended up just clicking with one, and I had 12 people in my class, and it was an in-person class, and it went really well. And then from there, you kind of just need to make sure that you're not spending a whole bunch of money on all these supplies for classes and then not have anyone to take the class. So right now, say you want to start a virtual workshop, you definitely need to make sure that you take some polls or see if there's anyone actually interested in your area and collect that data before you start.
And I would say also Facebook groups are really good too. If you have a local maker group,
Yes.
I know in my area in Richmond, Virginia, we have a very active group, and you can pull those things together very easily from there, even if it's just virtual. So.
Yes, virtual is the way to go right now. Honestly, you can even do one-on-one FaceTimes if you have someone that wants to do one class with you, just one person.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Like,
Annie
who does that?
All right. Next question is for Ronnie. Ronnie, what is a good starting point if you want to become a full-time artist?
Hi, guys. I would honestly argue that there's no perfect starting point for starting a business. When I started mine, I was taking 18 credit hours in college. I had a part-time job and a part-time unpaid internship. So I had like a ton of stuff going on. It was not a good time to be starting something new, but the best time to start is right now. And you are only wasting time and wasting potential by putting it off. No matter where you start, like if I start today and I'm not prepared, that's okay, because at least I'm pushing out content. At least I'm building towards something. if I put it off until the perfect time to start, until I feel like I have enough time to fully commit to it, until I feel like I have enough resources to fully commit to it, then I've wasted months of time where I could have at least been accumulating somewhat of a following, like getting better at niching down my art or like getting better at curating content. So I would argue that the right time to start is right now, and waiting is just doing yourself a disservice.
All right. Great advice. All right. I'm jumping in here again. Kelly, how do you deal with artist block?
Whew. Okay. So there's a lot of different ways that people deal with it. Everyone's going to be different. Me personally, first place I go is Pinterest. So that's usually the thing I start looking, and I'll look up a theme. So mountain ranges, and start just looking up different themes, and I'll have a little sketchbook next to me, and I'll start taking notes. I'll start doodling. I'll make little thumbnails, something like that, just to kind of get my brain going. Also, trying something completely different. So if I'm working on an epoxy project and I'm just stuck, well, I'll go and do like some macrame, or I'll go and use my iPad and go on Procreate and do some sketching, just getting my brain off of whatever I'm doing and kind of hit a refresh. That's usually like my first ways to start kind of getting out of an art block. All right, so, oops, hold on one second. I'm actually looking here. So this next question is for Blake. How did you get started with your sculptures?
So I got kind of started in the whole art world kind of strangely. When I was pretty young, there's this koi fish painting at my parents' house. I'd pass it by every single day. And one random day I passed by it, and it's like one of those paintings where it looks like someone just scribbled, and like my mom just framed it up like this is the best picture ever. So I pass it by one day. I'm like, Mom, this painting sucks. Like, why did you frame this thing? I could do something way better than this. So I ended up going to Michael's, going to whatever store that was around, and I bought my first paint set, and I started painting. And that's really where everything started for me, is painting with acrylics. I did a lot of ocean scenery, just kind of a lot of real life paintings. And then from there, I was kind of fortunate enough to have a 6-month baseball season, and then the whole off season to dedicate fully to art. So I had 6 months to kind of just sell art and sell paintings. And I quickly learned I'm not a good enough painter to be selling these for my off-season job. So that's kind of where I dove into, hey, I need to go kind of outside the box here and try these sculptures with just weird materials and see if that catches. That's kind of where it really started, is just kind of thinking, hey, I need to do something new. I need to pivot here. That's what I did, and it worked out so far. So we're going with it.
And it wasn't your mom that painted the koi fish painting, was it?
Hopefully not. Otherwise, I would have been kicked out a long time ago.
That's all right. All right, guys, I'm going to mention here real quick. I don't know if you all have noticed, but if you are on YouTube or Facebook, if you all go to the comment section, you can actually comment and ask us questions, and we'll pull questions from there as well. So make sure you go there. We can see everything that you all are writing right now. We wave when we see something come up. So some of the questions that we have coming through, it's going to be a two-parter about who teaches classes. So besides Sam, is anybody else in the New York area that teaches classes that's in this group? And you can raise your hand and shout and wave. Tamar's got too many kids at home to be able to do that, but that's all right. But then we also have other people who teach a virtual class. So raise your hand if you teach a virtual class and plug yourself right now.
Hey guys, I'm Annie. So Haley, I know Haley, what are the classes that you have? Yours are a little bit more.
So mine are more stringent. Yeah, I just do the resin ocean tutorials, and I can also do resin marbled tutorials for you guys. So I do them all virtually via FaceTime, Zoom, or Skype, and all that information is on my website. And each class is however long it needs to be for me to teach you how to do it. And I believe it's $60 on my website right now.
Cool. And then for me, I do them a little bit differently. You can DM me, and basically whatever you have questions about, any kind of art that I make. I get a lot of questions or people coming to me to tell them kind of how to start working in resin with whatever kind of resin art they want to do. All you have to do is DM me. I'll give you my prices, and I do them via Instagram video chat. So in the little messages of video chat, and I call you that way, and it's fantastic. So if you guys want to do that, I can help you with anything you want to do.
Awesome. Thank you all. And we have a very, very difficult question, a very important one for Sam. Sam, what is the worst haircut you have ever had?
This is really important. I'm so happy someone asked me this question. Also, let's just talk about the fact that I did brush my hair for this. So let's start with that positive. Okay. The worst haircut ever. This brings back memories, you guys. When I was having my sweet 16, I went to get my hair trimmed for my sweet 16, and the person took off too much hair. And so at that point I was like, take it all off, and ended up with like this super short pixie cut like this on my sweet 16 in my little pink dress. And I was like, hey everyone, what's up? No hair. No, my dad wasn't shocked or anything, you know, like it was totally fine.
Oh my gosh.
Needless to say, I will never cut my hair that short again. So there you go.
I'm sure you looked adorable. I would love to see that picture. I wish we had that and could just like blow it up on the screen right now.
It was adorable until like it hits that weird growth period. And then you're like, well, now we're just here. So
Hint, hint, we need to see that on Instagram in a group message.
oh, that needs to happen. Okay, I'm going to find a photo happening.
All right, guys. So the next question is for Dave. So what are your thoughts on competition as an artist? So I know a lot of people feel like it's hard to get established and compete to other really big accounts. How do you overcome strong competition?
Well, that's a great question. So I see competition maybe different than others, and I see competition, if it's good competition, there's nothing better than becoming friends. I mean, people in this group would be considered competition maybe, but as you start to develop who you are, I think that's the most important thing. And as you have competition, get to know them, get to know what they do, and you can appreciate other people's work. I think, at least in my world, the worst competition are the people that don't follow the rules, that break kind of the systems, and I don't know if the right word is cheat, but they cheat their way into it. The best competition are people that are really, really strong in their business, and they do things the right way, because we can always compete fairly, and people will just pick and choose maybe the art that they like better, not the one that's advertising or false advertising or trying to promote differently. So I would say that the idea would be to have just really strong concept of who you are and what you do, and don't be afraid of the big people, and make them your friends, and work as a team to grow your entire market. There's a huge market normally that will accept you.
I love that. And especially for me as an artist, I look at these other talented artists and get inspired from them. It's like you want to work together with them. You don't want to, burn bridges. You don't want to have that numbers game, the comparing yourself and stuff like that. It's awesome to just work together.
It's respect each other.
Yeah, and I think you guys are all so different from my standpoint. I'm not on Instagram all day, but everybody's so different that, I might like something Sam does better than Kelly. It's just my taste. So you're not really competing for the same person, right? You're just competing to be as good as you can be, and getting you're broadening your reach by talking to other people and seeing what other fantastic opportunities are out there.
Hey, I like that term, community over competition. I really am into that. I think that there's room for everybody to succeed in their own way and do something a little differently and be like awesome at it. And I am just like all about cheering each other on and knowing that we can all like win in our own ways. So yeah, that's the life I want.
Perfect. All right, Tamar, we are hopping in our time machine. What is something that you know now that you wish you knew when you were first starting out?
All right. I guess it takes a lot of time on the computer to do all of the work that I'm doing. So when I was in the beginning of all this, I had to make a decision. Am I going to be a woodworker who's going to sell furniture and going to sell products? Or am I going to do this whole social media thing? So deciding to do the whole social media thing, like most of my time is now like spent on the computer, when really what I want to be doing is out there in the shop building. So just know how much time it takes behind the scenes to actually get all this stuff done. The editing and the website, all the talking to brands and trying to figure out all this stuff. There's just so much back end work that just was not aware of really before it all started. And I mean, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I think I made the total right decision, but I just didn't know that it was going to be, it's not even 50-50. Like there was way more time that I spend on the computer doing paperwork than I'm doing actual woodworking. So I guess that's just it.
Hey, Tamar, have you ever read the book E-Myth?
I have not.
Yeah, so for all of you, E-Myth is basically the entrepreneurial myth. It's a really good book, but it touches on everything you said about, you know, you love doing one thing and then you find your whole day goes to the stuff that you don't enjoy doing, right? And it's super important to sort that out quickly if you can, so that you're not stuck doing the stuff you don't love in order to make money versus doing the stuff you love, which makes you, you know, a whole person. So
awesome.
I will have to read that.
All right, Mr. Adam, we have a question for you. What services does Maker Media Co. offer?
So things have changed a little bit from the initial thought of how I was going to run this, but basically you have representation for athletes and actors, and I wanted something to be out there for makers as well. So anything from business coaching for social media, contracts, anything along those lines of working with brands to try to help the little guy, because a lot of times what happens is some of those big accounts just swallow up a lot of the deals out there. No offense to our big account friends, but it's great to be able to, like when you're just starting out, to kind of find out what to do, learn the ropes. So a lot of coaching, and then I also work with brands too, and we consult and how to set up their social media and do things along the lines of starting ambassador teams and different programs so we can work with makers that need more opportunities. And then I'm going to ask a question again too. Let's see here. Annie, let's see.
Question it's on the screen right there.
Yep, it's already on the screen there. People keep typing it and it pops up. So this is from Diane Williams, and she says she's nervous about using resin. I want to finish about 20 paintings. Just order mass resin in a gallon size. So just going to go for it. So my question is, what temperature does it need to be for them to cure?
Okay, so Diane, first of all, I see in the comments, and thank you for commenting. So resin is going to cure when you put your both parts together, no matter what, as long as it's in like a room temperature, let's say, right? If it's really, really cold, your resin's not going to cure, because resin, the two parts, when they come together, they need to chemically bond, and it heats up, and it slowly over time, depending on what resin you're using, there's a certain amount of time and it will start curing, right? So I would say like room temperature, because once your room starts getting a little bit too hot, it's going to heat up too fast. You'll have exothermic reactions, and you're not going to have enough time with your resin, right? So each resin has, if you read, you know, the label and everything that comes with it, it tells you how much of a pot life you have, right? So you want to pay attention to that. Certain resins, you'll have an hour work time. Certain resins that work fast, you'll have 20 to 30-minute work time, sometimes less. So you want to pay attention to that. And the hotter it is, the faster your resin, no matter what, is going to cure. But there's not something you do kind of to make it cure. It cures together once you put the part A and part B together. So
cool. So
yeah.
I actually have a little question to kind of go off on that. I know you mentioned an exothermic reaction.
Yes.
So who here in this group, and I'm looking at this girl right next to me, has anyone here had a big exothermic reaction that has happened to them?
Ronnie really did.
Wow. I had one. This is a pro tip for everybody. So if you're making a rivet table, don't be stupid like I was. So I was making a coffee table size river table, and I'd put my wood in, I'd siliconed all my sides, and I was ready to go. And I had measured out exactly how much resin I needed. So I mixed all my deep pour and then poured it in. And it was just like a little bit below the very top. So I was like, okay, I'll just mix another like cup of it and put it in. So I mixed a little bit more and put it in. It was still like not quite at the top. So I mixed a little more and put it in. And it was still not quite at the top. So I mixed more and I put it in. And at that point I was like, okay, something's not adding up here. My wood was floating. I hadn't remembered to weigh down my wood. So my wood was just floating up with my resin. I probably had, so this was with the old deep pour. Oh, little plug with the new deep pour. This wouldn't happen. You can pour the new deep pour up to, what is it, Dave? 3 inches? 3? Yeah, 3 inches. So this wouldn't happen. With the old one, I think it was like a ½ inch or an inch maybe. 1 inch. So I had at minimum 2 inches of volume under the wood, not even like above it or, oh my gosh. And so by the time I realized we had been sitting there mixing new resin for forever, like it was way too late to save the table. So we started scooping it out with buckets. And so we're like, it's sitting in these buckets and it's me and my friend Randall doing this together. And he just looks over, he goes, does it usually do that? And it is just rising of the bucket. And I was like, no, grab it. So we grabbed the buckets and literally just like sprinted outside and threw them into the parking lot because they were literally exploding. Oh my gosh. So yeah, pro tip, don't do that.
Yeah. Noted. I will literally write that down. Do not do that. So, okay, I actually have a riveting YouTube question that just came up for Tamar. What are you drinking?
It's a Corona hard seltzer in blackberry lime flavor, and it's delicious.
Yum. What is everyone drinking? I'm very curious about this. I'm having what are you having?
I'm a pirate. I just drink straight whiskey.
I'm having an old fashioned.
I have a water.
I have a water also, the hard stuff.
Keeping it classy. Wine in a solo cup, baby.
There you go. Last time I had beer in a coffee cup, I was hiding it.
This time there's no shame.
No, none, not at all.
I just have walnut finish. That's all I have around here.
Oh no, Blake. Do not drink
Don't
that.
drink it.
That's worse than an exothermic reaction.
All right. We have a question for Haley. Haley, what did you really drink in that video from Moss?
Oh, so this video on TikTok that Moss posted of me when we went up there for our maker meetup. We were in the big warehouse, and I like to stay hydrated. People thought it was pee, so the whole TikTok viral video was Haley drinking pee. So even on my personal page, or my art page, I was getting people from that video coming over to my video, like, what are you drinking in that bottle? And it was actually just Propel, but really concentrated, really thick, because I only had this much water.
What's Propel?
Oh, it's like a powder drink for electrolytes or something. No sugar. I don't know. Matt brought it in his little sack of snacks.
Oh, that just all sounded so great. I love it. Going on to another great question, Miss Ronnie, this one is for you. What is your greatest accomplishment?
Oh, that is a good question. Oh my goodness. I feel like I can't even rank them. There's so many things that I value as big milestones for me. So I think a lot of people would probably look at my social media and say that having over 100,000 on Instagram and over 2 million on TikTok would be this huge accomplishment. But I think that my personal biggest accomplishment was being able to transition over from just doing what I knew would sell to doing what I wanted to do, which I feel was a huge milestone. I think everybody would agree with me that having the freedom to explore the things that you're passionate about and not be in a position where it's oh, I need to make 80 coaster sets because that's what people want. And I don't know if they'll buy my other stuff, or I don't have enough demand to make other stuff for people to buy. So it was a huge milestone for me to be able to transition over from making what I knew would sell to making what I knew I was passionate about.
And that's a scary transition.
It's super
That's
scary.
not easy.
It's scary to put self boundaries on where it's like, okay, I'm not going to take commissions under, like $500. It's like, that's scary because you think I need to take up like every opportunity to make money, but you have to do it eventually. Everyone gets there, and it's a nice feeling.
All right. Sort of transitioning into this one to Kelly. Kelly, what was your most rewarding experience in 2020?
Whew. Okay. That is a very good one. So now, Moss isn't paying me to say this right now, but seriously, 2020 has been insane. I just feel so blessed that I was able to become the content creation specialist for Moss Epoxies. So that was just a huge thing because now I am like doing something I love every single day, and I'm getting paid for it. So like that's really cool. But also to kind of go off of that, so something that's really cool. I worked with Moss and we came up with this really cool epoxy resin kit. It's called the Tabletop Pro LTD. And it featured me on the bottle. But a part of the proceeds are going to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So that's really important to me because I actually have Crohn's disease. So being a part of this whole like initiative to, bring awareness and also help an amazing foundation was really important. And that was just like an amazing experience for me. All right. So I'm going to ask another question. Thanks for asking me. Goodness, I'm all tongue-tied. Anyways, Blake, let's see. What you do is so unique. How did you learn how to do that?
So mostly I do tire sculptures, a lot of recycled tires, and simply put, just trial and error. It took me so long to make my very first one. The first thing I had to do is learn how to cut a tire. So I basically got pulled over on the side of the road, picked up a car tire, and I threw every power tool I possibly had at this thing, and it would not cut. Long story short, car tires don't work. They're all steel reinforced. There's no way of cutting through them. If you use any kind of high rotary tool or cut-off saw, it'll just burn. So from there, I just kind of went and I learned, okay, bicycle tires I can cut. So honestly, it's just a lot of trial and error. And then the biggest thing with kind of sculptures is how do I attach these materials to make it look like this form? And that the school of YouTube is a great asset. I mean, I'm sure I've learned so much from all the makers here already because I suck at epoxy. So I'm super glad and humble and honored to be here because I don't know anything about epoxy, but YouTube is such a great platform to learn on. So unbelievably good. And you could learn about anything on there. And that's kind of how I learned how to sculpt something. And then I put what I learned myself from how to manipulate tires to basically just sculpting and carving the inner structure of these sculptures. So that's kind of the short version of how it happened.
Awesome. I do nothing with bicycle tires or car tires, but I think I made a Mad Max outfit one time out of some tires. So next question comes from, I believe it was Chris. Let's see here. I believe it was from Christy. And Christy was asking about Amazon. And what Christy said was, how do we feel, and this is for the group, how do we feel about it as a social platform for linking products and sharing video reviews directly on Amazon? And before anybody jumps in on this, I will say that one of the new things that if you all don't know is that Amazon and brands that are on there are letting people actually put reviews up and put projects. So depending on what the relationship is with Amazon, like that's a good media for actually being able to put your content out there, and they get thousands and thousands of views. So with that said, how do you all feel about Amazon as like the next social platform?
Somebody who's going, who's going? Haley, you go. Haley, you start.
Okay, I'll go and then you go.
Okay.
So I think I looked at this question two different ways, honestly. that's something new to me, that you can leave reviews with the stuff that you create using the product. I think that's something that I now need to tap into. I don't think I've done that before. I've definitely left reviews on stuff like water bottles that have melted in the dishwasher and stuff like that, I was mad about, but nothing that I've made with something. And then another part that I read into that was I link my products that I use for my artwork on my Instagram, on my website and stuff, so that people can easily shop them and understand exactly what I'm purchasing to use to make my sort of artwork. So that's actually beneficial. I mean, I think I get like 15 cents from it if you actually buy through the link, but it's something that's helpful for others and easy to find, and everyone has an Amazon. Annie?
Yeah, so when this Amazon influencer thing started, I got a message like years ago from them, and they asked me to like kind of do a trial thing. So before everybody could join, I kind of started one, and I thought it was weird, but now it's like, the thing is, as creators and content creators and what kind of maker you are, we buy a lot of items off of Amazon, especially with the coronavirus right now, because we're home all the time. We need it like to be mailed to us, right? So the thing is like we get these products and sometimes it's like, oh crap, this is a crappy heat gun or something, right? And then I'll buy a different one. So for me, when people come to all of our channels, they come in, they're like, okay, well, they're the pros. We want to know what works good, right? So even if we don't get paid off of it, I think it's such a great thing, because if my followers can come and I can be like, okay, this is the exact 1 or 2 heat guns that I love. This is the tape that I love. This is the mold and these are things that I've tried. I'll never put something on there that I've never tried before or hasn't gotten mailed to me. It's the specific exact item. And, if I'm going to help save time for somebody else and money so they don't buy a crappy product and they can buy the one that I got and I love, then why not? And if we get a couple cents off of each one, then hey, great, right? I didn't know, Adam, I didn't know about that new feature. That's pretty awesome. We need to look into that.
Yeah, it's really specific depending on what the relationship is with Amazon and the brand, but they can upload your videos straight from YouTube, from your YouTube channel. But it depends on the brand relationship with Amazon.
So many platforms.
So many. And
got added another one.
And the views are bigger there on Amazon than they are probably on YouTube.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, I have to look into that. I'm gonna message you later so you can explain that to me a little bit more. Maybe we can do a video and explain it to kind of everybody else, kind of more detailed. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I would also love to know that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Tutorial.
So, let's see here. So we had a question, and I don't really see it anymore, but I know the question. This one's going to Sam. Where and how did you learn how to use tools? Which I think is a great question.
Yeah, it's been a journey. So when I was a teenager, my dad would take me to job sites with him, and he taught me like the basics. So he taught me miter saw 101. He taught me how to use drills. He taught me how to like cut molding. And as I got back into learning more about tools and like rediscovering my love for woodworking, I taught myself a lot more. And I've been pretty much self-taught on most of the tools I have in my workshop now. And a lot of that is thanks to maker friends on YouTube that I learned a lot from, and also asking for help from my dad and advice from my dad, because he is like the coolest person I know. So
I love that. I know nothing about like woodworking or anything like that. So whenever I have just like an odd thing that I need help with, I'm like, Dad, can you make this for me? Like, is that possible?
Yeah, well, come on down to the YouTube channel, have lots of like fun intro to woodworking projects and like things. And I've been doing a Tool School 101 on my Instagram recently, just teaching the basics of power tools on the first Tuesday of every month. So if anybody's interested, check it out.
I love that.
All right. Thanks, Sam. All right, Dave, we're going to call the lawyers on this one. So we have a tough question for you. So the question is, Dave, can you talk about the safeties of resin? They said they're very new to it, and they've heard so many horror stories about the health issues, and just kind of talk about the safety of it, how safe it is to work with, and any sort of tips or tricks you want to add.
Yeah, so I think in general terms, you should attempt to read the safety data sheet. It's extremely confusing, but the general statements are this is, wear gloves all the time. Don't splash it on yourself. If it gets on you, wipe it off before it cures. have your arms covered. I know a lot of people wear face masks. In our facility, our people that make the product don't wear face masks, but I know a lot of people don't like the smell of the fumes and the exposure while it's curing. Have a well ventilated area. I think there's pretty common cleanliness things that you should just be doing that are standard, but you should read the safety data sheet. I'd love to tell you that all the epoxies that we sell are the same, but they're not. Some are very less sensitizing. They're low in odor. They're not as harmful as others, but all of them are dangerous if you're mishandling the product. So read those safety data sheets. And again, I think most of the people in this have posted about it, or people are using good hygiene. I've talked about it actually on my Hoff CEO Instagram account, just showing what gloves should look like, and wearing glasses. You don't want it in your eyes, and a lot of very pretty simple things to do. But really read a safety data sheet and make sure that it is the same. And I would tell you, if the supplier that you're buying your epoxy from does not offer you a safety data sheet, then you should not buy from them. And if they don't have a phone number that you can call and ask a question, you shouldn't buy from them either, because they're really not out there looking for your best interests. Most of the best suppliers have all of that. And that includes my competition, as I talked about earlier. A lot of us publish everything. We're really straightforward on how to do it. So go to those people.
That's awesome. Thank you, Dave. So this next question is going to Ms. Tamar. What tools do you consider essential for a beginner?
Essential for a beginner. I guess besides for the basics that someone would start with, like you could build anything with a circular saw and a couple of drills. Once you get beyond that, if you really want to get into like legit woodworking, I would say a table saw. I know like it's super scary and it's like a really like big scary tool, but like once you start getting deeper into it, you could just do so much with it. You like do joinery stuff, and just when I remember the first time that I was able to rip wood into like thinner strips, I was like, oh my God, this is a game changer. So a table saw is definitely a game changer. And then after that, when you get a little bit further along, my favorite tools are routers. I know that a lot of people find them to be very scary also. I don't think that they're essential for beginners. Saying once you move on from circular saws and table saws, routers are just take your projects to the absolute next level.
Awesome.
I have to say, those are the first two tools I bought, and you're spot on. I bought the table saw and then I bought a router, and I don't really know how to use them quite well yet. My dad helps, but definitely great advice.
Awesome. So this next question is for Mr. Adam. What is something that you wish was different in the maker community?
So I think it's much better depending on which community you're in, but and Dave kind of touched on it too about competition. But I think that once people realize that we're all in this together and you can lift each other up, that it just makes everything so much better for everyone around. People sometimes just get a little upset if people are doing similar things to them. But really, there's so many of us out here making that we can all just basically learn and grow together. And it makes the community stronger. Share people's other work. You're not against them. It's different if you're selling tables in the same town or something like that. But when it's this huge online community, we can all help each other. And that's the big thing that I wish would be a little bit different, but I think we're getting there.
Preach. Awesome. Amen.
So I have a great question coming in for Blake. Blake, and then sorry, earmuffs for the people that don't want to hear a bad word, but Blake, you damn handsome bastard. Are you single? And if not, do you have a brother? And this is not my question. This is a question that came through. I am happily married, good-looking guy, but this is what they want to hear.
Adam, you just had to ask me before this started if you wanted to know. Yes, I've been married for over 8 years, and I do have a brother. He's also married too. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome. So So I'm looking, so currently we have a screen on our little screen here that has all of these chats coming in from YouTube. Thank you guys so much for sending in your questions. Please keep them coming. So if you have anything about resin, starting a business, really anything you would like to know, ask it in the comments. And I just kind of wanted to kind of go back to that question that Adam previously answered about the maker community and like the competition and the comparing yourself. Like I look at all these people on the screen right here, and I have been so inspired by every person and what they do in their craft. I also kind of want to know, for everyone here, do you guys do different types of crafts? Like, do you only stick with woodworking? Do you only stick with epoxy? What do you guys kind of like to dabble in? For anyone.
I'll take this one off. I have probably experimented with every medium known to man. I used to be really into oils. I love their blendability and how long you can work with them. Did a lot of acrylic work, watercolor. I actually used to do embroidery as well. And I did a lot of sculpture work. So I've really done a ton of stuff. And when you're running a social media page, you do want to keep things looking somewhat like tidy and like consistent. And so not everything that I create goes on my page. Like if I have something that looks completely different and that I'm not planning to sell anyways, I won't be posting it. But it doesn't mean I'm not doing more and different mediums behind the scenes.
And it's kind of funny to touch on that. Now, my page is completely the opposite. So like my whole entire page is something new every single time. So, you know, it's not very like consistent with like the images and stuff because everything's so different. But
consistently a variety.
Yes.
So it is still consistent and uniform. It's just that that's how yours has always looked. And so it stays true to who you are.
You have a style. You have a very definite style. That's the thing. They're different, but when somebody watches your videos, you post a new video, they know exactly what's coming to them. They know what kind of tutorial, what kind of video formatting, the way you film and everything. They know what's coming. So it is consistent in a way, just different art forms. So kind of is the same.
Hey, if I can jump in, I think the beauty of DIY, and I think that's what we all do it yourself, like we're all doing things, is learning new techniques and trying new things. For me, like I actually started my brand with crafting and then moved on to woodworking from there. And now I kind of delve into resin and welding and like home improvement stuff. So I think, you know, and I think I speak for everyone here, like we all love experimenting with new techniques, and that's like part of the process. And to me, that's like the most fun part of the process.
And Sam, I think you were doing signs for people when like we first started talking. That was like
totally. Yeah. So like when I first actually started sharing my woodworking, it's because I was making custom signs for like local musicians and local businesses. And then I realized like, wait, people actually like watching me do woodworking. Okay, so I'll show more stuff. And then it like started from there. And from there it just grew. And now I'm like, I do self-taught welding and got to learn about resin from these amazing makers in this panel, you know, and got to learn about new techniques from there. So there's always growth and there's always learning. And that's like the best part of it.
I like making surfboards also. So if anyone wants a surfboard, there's resin on those. I can make you one.
I do.
Can you actually surf in the water with you can surf with them? You don't slip on the resin?
So I have to say, Dave, I need to get with you on this because I haven't actually tried moss resin on my surfboards. I've tried a particular resin that I've used since I was like a baby building surfboards in my dad's shed. That literally cures in like a hot minute. No joke. Like you have to chuck the bucket away. Like you pour it, you spread it, and you chuck it. So you don't really have much time to like make it pretty. But Dave, I'd be curious if there's a resin I can use to make working surfboards.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. All the stand-up paddle boards are made with epoxy because they're use a different type of foam, an EPS foam versus what you used to use in the old surf days, which was a polyurethane foam.
Yep.
And we do have in the CPD line actually resin specifically for surfboards. You could also use the stuff that you're getting from us. I mean, they're all very similar, but you want something that has some UV protection in it. So if you're using like Moss LV, do you have any of that down there?
I have a little jug of it.
Yeah, it's going to be a little thick, but that's okay. You know, just spread it on thin, and you know, I love people using a lot of epoxy, but I hate it when people have to sand it because it's just so hard to sand. So just try to put it on as thin as you can, because those polyester resins are very thin.
And I can glass it with like fiberglass sheets.
Yeah, the same, like 3 6-ounce, whatever you're using. Yep.
Wow, I need to try that. I'll let you guys know how that goes.
It will yellow though. I mean, you know, I
can color it though. If I tinted it, it probably wouldn't be noticeable if I did like highlighter blue.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Super cool.
I'll let you know what happens. I always do a miniature. I'll do a miniature foam block first.
Yes, see, I love that. Always starting out with something small. I have to remind myself to do that when I'm doing something new. Like, okay, do a coaster size before going into something more extravagant.
Oh, yeah. Yes, girl.
Okay, so for my woodworking people in this group, do you guys do small things to test things out first? Or do you just like make a table? Like, is there a testing stage when it comes to creating?
Sometimes. A lot of times, like, the testing is like done on camera, like on video. Like, what you're seeing is the testing. And I guess there's like with like all of my projects, they're all like, it's all the first time that I'm making it, you know? So like, I wouldn't, like, the projects that I'm making on YouTube, like, I wouldn't be able to sell those, or it's not like an efficient way to make it, to sell it, because it's like, you make something efficient really like the third time you make it. You know what I'm talking about? Like, so you figure out all the kinks. So I guess to answer your question, the first time that I'm making it is the test.
Is the time, yeah.
But hey, like, that's part of the process, and that's what makes it fun, right? Everyone starts somewhere, and I think that it's really fun to watch somebody else try something for the first time, and then it doesn't seem so scary anymore.
I think one of the interesting things too with the woodworking crew, I know with Sam and you and Tamar, like with us, like, we'll build something and we learn that technique, and maybe we'll use it on something else, but that build is done at that point. And so like with you all, the resin artists, you all continue to expand your craft and repeat the process over and over again, and you get really awesome at it. But like, I've built like maybe like 1 or 2 desks or something like that, but I haven't built another desk again. Or if you build like a table, like, it's going to be like months in between you do a table again. So, I mean, it's kind of like you keep jumping and jumping and jumping again, and it's, the consistency isn't as there as much unless you're like mass producing. Now,
have you ever like ruined a project, and or do you usually find a way to fix it? I mean,
what you do is you make it look good on camera.
Well, okay, so both, because honestly, like, I've definitely ruined projects before, and then I've been like, this isn't working, and gotten rid of them. But I usually try to fix it to make it look good, because I build out of necessity. So I build things that I need for my own life, and because of that, like, I need them to function and not fall apart. So I guess a little bit of both.
Right. And also with woodworking, there are parts. So like, you don't mess up like a whole table just doesn't like fall apart. It's like a part of the table doesn't work out. So
I didn't even think about
that part, you know?
So true. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I want to jump into, when we do testing here, if anybody ever really wants to have some fun, come and visit us. And we burn a lot of epoxy, and it's a very exciting learning experience. When we did the Deep Pour X, I think Derek poured probably 150 or 200 gallons total to see if that product was going to work for our customers. It's fun. Those of you that have been here to visit, it is really fun to see artists that really don't have to worry about the budget that they're working on, right? To experiment. So I'd recommend to everyone, if you can think more freely about it, I think you'll be very, very creative. You might throw a couple pieces out, but at the end, I think you come up with stuff that you just wouldn't have expected to get, or that's not normal.
Did you say 120 gallons?
Oh, it was more than that. Yeah. It was.
At one time?
No. Over time, he would pour one, and then it would fail, and he'd go, okay, we go back and we'd reformulate it, or he would get bubbles, or something would be wrong, the mold would leak. So, there's a lot that you do have to do, right? I mean, ours is a large scale because of the products that we sell. But it was interesting. His desk was on Instagram that he actually did, which was like his 9th or 10th pour, which is I think 27 or 30 gallons.
I thought you meant he mixed 120 gallons at once, and I was going to say, how the hell do you do that?
Yeah,
Can you share that information?
Load headquarters.
Like, do you guys still have a headquarters? Like, did that not burst into flames?
Well, that was a long time ago.
Let's not do it again.
I have a question for Kelly, and really anyone, all of you. What would you do if you weren't a full-time artist?
So when I was going to college, the first thing I was studying was education. I wanted to be a preschool teacher. So obviously, if I wasn't a full-time artist, I would have to go back to school and learn how to do that. But I would absolutely love doing that. I love teaching. I love art. I love little kids. So that's what I would like to do.
I was doing IT before this, so I'd probably still be doing IT. But, this is an upgrade.
Definitely. Does anyone else want to answer that one?
I was doing 3D animation, film, visual effects, kind of the very film industry stuff. It sounds fun, but it's really not. So I'm very happy doing what I'm doing now.
That's awesome. And you are amazing at what you do. So
I am, but I like this industry more. So
I think that I would probably not make that much money. I would probably, I still don't, but I would probably want to be a CrossFit coach, I would say. That's something I'm still working on. I read the whole level 1 manual and everything, and I did a bunch of practice tests, but the class, to pay for it is expensive. So if I'm not actually going to coach, why would I want to pay for the license to coach? So that's probably what I would do.
All right, guys. Bad news is that we have reached our time on this. So if you all have asked questions and we have not gotten to them, we'll be doing this again. Also, we'll be able to answer these questions in our YouTubes, Facebook, everything else. So we'll be able to answer you all directly. If they don't directly answer you, then we know they're not being nice. So everybody on here answer these questions that are all around. I'm pointing to you, one of you all. Anyway, so thanks, guys. What we're going to do real quick, I'm going to have everybody run through, starting up with Blake. We're going to tell, again, what your handles are. And if you're on Instagram or YouTube, say those channels as well, because I know several people were asking if we had more than one channel. I know we have all of our Instagram names on here right now, but if you have a YouTube as well, plug that. And Blake, let's kick it off with you.
Blake McFarland. I'm on YouTube and Instagram at BM Sculptures, and then my website, just blakemcfarland.com.
And I'm Sam, and my handle is DIY Huntress, and you can find me on Instagram, on YouTube, and also I have a website, which is DIYHuntress.com.
I'm Dave. My handle is Hoff_CEO. That's all I have for social media, really, but you can certainly find our website at MossEpoxies.com.
I'm Tamar, and I'm 3x3 Custom on Instagram and YouTube, and I also have a website, 3x3custom.com.
And I am Adam from Lazy Guy DIY. That's Instagram and YouTube and the website as well.
Oh, that's me, right? Hello, guys. I'm Annie. You can search me on all social media platforms. Annie's Art Studio on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. What else is there? My website is anniesartstudio.com. And thanks for joining, guys. It was so much fun. Haley.
Oh, okay. I'm on Instagram at artist Haley Nolan, also on TikTok, same handle, and I just have a YouTube. I have 8 subscribers. It's just Haley Nolan. My website's haleynolan.com. Off to Ronnie.
Hi guys, my name is Ronnie Langley. I'm on TikTok at Ronnie Langley. My website is ronnielangley.com, and I actually just ran a restock. So I have items in my shop for like the first time in forever. And I'm on Instagram at rll.designs. I'm also on YouTube under Ronnie Langley, so come check it out. And off to Haley.
Awesome. Kelly, I go by Haley.
Right, and I said the wrong name.
All right, guys, my name is Kelly. You can find me on Instagram at kellybelly62, or I have another Instagram account called Creatively Kelly, and I have a TikTok, Creatively Kelly with a K. So you can find me there and also on the Moss account because you'll be seeing my face on there as well. But we just all want to thank you guys so much for joining. Your questions were awesome. We really enjoyed it, and we cannot wait for next time. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.